What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the ABJ Podcast. What's going on? ABJ is in the house. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in. Just want to say real quick, full disclosure, this episode is being recorded on the 16th of January. So by the time you guys are hearing this, there may be some aspects of this interview that are far gone. Our guest today is going to have some stories of recovery and stuff like that when it comes to an injury. So by the time this airs, they will be hopefully on all over your TV. And I truly think they're going to. So I'm kind of glad I'm getting it now, but cannot wait to talk to Jason. We'll get to that in one moment. Let's get the plugs, get the cheap stuff out of the way first. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in. Make sure you always check the links below, not only to support me, but my guests and all their links. Follow them on social media. Check out those merch pages, grab some stuff. If you do buy merchandise from either me or my guests, take some photos on social media, tag us on it and say, hey, love the merch. Thank you so much. It makes us feel great. And then we can show you the love back by making you on our story or whatever it may be and saying thank you for supporting by buying that. If you're listening to this on the audio side of things, whether it's Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, or wherever it may be, 5-star review goes a long way. So Spotify has new things now where you can comment on there and leave comments, and I will try to respond back to them. I'm trying something new as well on Spotify. If you notice on season 3, I'm not doing it for any other season, but season 3, I'm starting it. Video podcasts on Spotify. So if you're on Spotify, you can watch us as well as listen to us. That's super exciting. If you're not watching on Spotify, I hope you're watching on either Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. If YouTube is the goal this year, that's the one I'm trying to grow. If I could hit that to 10K, but if any of those platforms blow up, awesome. I love that you're on that platform. Keep it growing. Thank you for being here. Word of mouth helps out so much. So tell people what you're watching. Tell us what you think. Like I said, using that social media to do so. Sponsorships, Rooted Entertainment. I'm not a good wrestler. I'll never be a wrestler. I'll never get in there and win any 10 pounds of gold or anything like that. But Ruda can make me a custom title, and I can walk around like a mark like the rest of us and wave it around. But these belts are amazing. I'm telling you right now, these belts, they're better than some of the promotions I go to on the independent scene. But you too can be the YouTube Intercontinental Champion, the workhorse champion of this business. Hit him up. He does customs. He does belts for actual wrestling promotions. He does the ones you see on TV. He can make replicas for. Check him out. Ruda Entertainment does great work. High Tension Wrestling, a wrestling company who's had my back for a very long time. Check out their YouTube page. They're on the quest for their monetization and trying to hit their goals over there. They have great content, podcasts, wrestlers, wrestling interviews, clips, the whole nine. It's all there on High Tension Wrestling out of Philadelphia, but they travel a little bit all over the place. Once again, thumbs up, subscribes over on the YouTube channel. Trying to hit that 10K goal, so anything will help. Hit up the comments below. And if you are watching this, you could have seen this the next day. It was recorded because I put all of my interviews out immediately after they're recorded, but you guys don't see them in the public until they make it public. Until I make them public for everybody as they go. But if you remember on the $5 tier, you can see them right away. So $5 is like buying ABJ a beer. And even if you buy me a beer, I'll probably review it and make more content with it. So you can check out beer reviews, movie reviews, horror movie, unboxings, tech reviews. I do a journal vlog, interviews. There's a lot of content, and you get a lot of it for your bang for your buck. I try to make it worth your money if you are willing to give your hard-earned money to support this channel. So tons and tons of content that you will be up that you can check out while you're doing that. Without further ado, let's get rid of that internet can shaking. I hate that aspect, but we got to do what we got to do. My guest today, I met in New Jersey. This kid was unbelievable. We'll talk about it before. Very new to the game when I met him. Had a great look, great mind, great personality. Kind of separated for a little bit. Went to 2 different companies, 2 different places. Rekindled at PPW, and he was on a new mental aspect, a new mind state, a new thing, the way he was handling the business. And I'm really glad to reconnect here today. Let's bring him in. Jason HENDRIX. What's going on, bud?
ABJ, how we doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm super happy to be speaking to you. Full disclosure, we'll just kind of get it right out of the way here. Coming off a pretty rough injury.
Yeah, still recovering. Actually just a few days out of my final surgery that I had to do for it. So on the mend from a broken leg, snapped my tibia and fibula. I think those are the right words, but we got some metal in there and we're getting ready to go.
Now, I always try to look at positives for things, right? And I didn't realize how much how much you put yourself out there and how many people actually how many people in the business you've earned their respect and how many people really love and support you and like you as a person. Unfortunately, until you got injured, when you got hurt, man, the rally and support of people that I didn't even know that I knew that knew you and vice versa, man, the love and support you got from this industry and the boys and the girls and the people, or the women, sorry, the boys and the women in the back, of just be like, yo, this dude, everyone recognizes your grind and everyone recognizes your hustle and everyone recognizes the miles you put on your car and what you do for this business and how much you fucking love it. And everyone knew you were fucking on a peak and you were on that fucking thing. And then this injury setback, but everyone made sure your name got out there and people knew who you were. How do you reflect on that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest takeaways from this whole thing was realizing how many good people I'm very fortunate to have surrounded myself with throughout the couple years I've been doing this. The first thing that happens, I practice out in Cleveland. I go down on the canvas and get carted away, pump some painkillers into me. I'm sitting in bed, and the first two people that walk in are my good friend Noah Torricella and EC3, and they gave me some good positive words of affirmation. I get wheeled out after they wrap me up, and there's the Exodus guys, the whole practice squad that day came out to the hospital, came to see me. And man, when you're down like that, it's really, really cool to have that support. And then, as you said, I posted some things online and I got some support from people all over the East Coast, all over the Midwest. It meant the world. And yeah, I value it, man. I really do. It tugs at my heartstrings talking about it a little bit. So please excuse me.
And it should, man, because that you generally are a good person, a good-minded person. The way you conduct yourself, the way you do your thing, the way you're selfless, and that's what makes you shine as much as your wrestling ability is who you are as a person. And the fact that this industry, it can be entertainment industry as well, as when someone goes down, someone can look at that and be like, boop, step right over. He's gone. Here's my thing. And everyone's like, hey, no, keep this guy in your radar. Keep this guy in your spirits. He's going to bounce back. And people should know about this kid and support this kid. And it was fucking awesome to see.
Hey, I do appreciate it, man. The value of somebody's word is not lost on me. So all of the support online, all of the support I've gotten DMs, and I've said it to some people before. I'd like to put it out there again. If you've sent me a kind message at any point and I didn't respond, I apologize. I was getting a lot of messages for a little while, and I was on a ton of painkillers. So I was going through a lot, and I wasn't exactly able to see everything right after that surgery. It was a tough time, but I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. Seriously. That's what I have to say about
that. What happened? Was it training? Was it a match? How did it actually go down? And did you know it was broken right away?
It was training. We were doing this practicing a counter where if you're going for a famouser and the guy stands up, you backflip out of it. And I backflipped completely on my right leg, and I for sure knew it was broken. I heard the snap the second my foot touched the mat, and I went down, and I just remember I screamed for a few seconds, and then I started doing this weird psychotic ha 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 thing.
Adrenaline,
that was freaking a lot of people out, but it's just what happened. And I remember someone asked me hey, can you get up so we can we'll help you to the hospital? And someone was like, dude, no, don't get him up, because it snapped, So I laid there at the Control Your Narrative co-op in the ring until the stretcher came, which fortunately they were lightning fast. We were right by the hospital in Cleveland. Probably were there in 3 or 4 minutes. They took me out, they put me in the ambulance, and we dealt with it. It was an interesting night.
And that's the largest bone, right? The one you broke in your leg. That's the daddy bone. That's the one that you normally don't break unless you're in a severe car accident or something insane.
I went to school for marketing, not anatomy, but I think so. It's both the bones in the lower leg. So if those are the biggest bone, I broke that thing, man.
Loud? Was it really loud?
It was loud to me. I would have to ask all the people that were there if they heard it. I'm sure they did, but like I heard a pretty clear, like a snap.
Yeah.
That was a
Did
bad
your
snap.
leg look distorted, or did it look just swollen, or what? Like when you look down, you're like, oh crap, that's broken, or you just felt the pain?
I couldn't even really look at it. I was stuck in the position I was laying. My foot was more or less, my ankle was more or less hanging off of my leg the
Oh,
way that
fuck.
it broke. So I was like, I would have to lay in this very interesting position where I was on like my left ass cheek and my left leg,
Yeah.
and I would have to keep two pillows in between my leg and prop it up in a very specific position. I never really had a chance to look at it because they took it, wrapped it up pretty fast. But yeah, it swole up like a balloon when I was able to see it. It was a bad one, man. I thought my collarbone break back in the day was bad. This thing takes the cake.
Yeah. And I mean, you had a pretty severe thing growing up too. We were talking about your scar growing up. You had a severe thing when you were younger too. So you've been through some stuff when it comes to surgeries and going through the ups and downs.
Yeah, people always ask me about that scar, man, and it's like I swear I was like 2, 3 weeks old. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
you are the $1 million man, brother. Between surgeries and getting under the knife and making and rehabilitating yourself with doctors, man. You are the bionic man.
look, it's 2025. AI is a big thing now, so I'm just trying to put as much metal in me as possible and become a robot and never die.
Yeah,
Never ever.
you'll be the new Terminator. I love that. Now, do those do those plates and rods and did that all stay in, or do they come out?
Most of them. So I got like 2 surgeries. The day of my first one, it was 2 different procedures. Took about 2.5 hours. They did an incision up by my knee where they put in the rod that goes like completely down my leg. Some screws up there, and then there's a plate down by my ankle with some screws in there. So most of them are staying in. That was actually the surgery the other day. They took out the lowermost screw. So I gained a little bit of mobility back. It's funny. I'm like moving around and I'll hear like my ankle do like a big crack. Like it's like getting used to, it's a good crack. I've had bad cracks quite recently, but it was a good crack. And I'm just very fortunate to be on the right end of it, because when I was in the thick of it, man, that sucked, bro. That was not fun.
I don't want to put you back in a mind state of negativity or anything, because one of the things I do love about you is your mind state and how you look at things positively. Even our last interview that we had, where you just had a different, like when we did the 5, like your interview I did very early on, then you had 5 questions, are 2 different people, and then now seeing you now, it's you've been baptized again. You know what I mean? Like when you're going through this and you break it, obviously you have to know mentally. I know you're super humble, and I know you're like, but you got to feel like you're on a trajectory. You're making moves. You're getting yourself out there. You're making good connections. You're working with good people, international people. Like, you know what I mean? Your buddy from the UK that was hanging out, that big badass giant. But like you have to feel you're like, I'm on a good track here. I feel like I'm locked in. I'm doing what I got to do. This breaks. Like immediately, do you think, this is it? Like, I don't like, this is bad. Like, am I done? Is this something I can continue to do? Like, where do you go mentally?
So that was the first thing that kind of hit me right when I was on the mat looking up. I just said, "Why right now?" And Rex Brody actually, it was just like, "I know, bud. I had a lot coming up. I was able to do a lot of cool stuff, but we had just announced me versus Lee Moriarty. I was stoked about that. I
It'll come
actually
back.
had
That'll come back to you. The universe will give you everything you had tenfold. I promise you. If you just get back on it and you do what you got to do in a healthy way, good things happen to good people. Lee Moriarty is going to happen, and then some. Trust me.
Thank you, man. That's what I'm hoping. As I said, there was a lot I won't even mention because it was never announced, but there are really cool things in the pipeline. I just got to do my first bit of extra work, so I was like excited, obviously. And it's disappointment, but I've said it too many times when I was up to not realize the same fact when I'm down. Progress is never a straight line where you just go up. That doesn't happen to anybody ever. You're going to have your dips, and it's how you spring off of those that makes you a good productive person. And I feel that, this injury allowed me to attain a lot of perspective I didn't have. I didn't realize how burnt out I was until I was sitting on a couch saying, I hate wrestling and I never want to look at it again. I definitely needed a few months to get through that, but it's given me a sense of balance. I'm going to return to wrestling with a healthy mindset, with an excited mindset, being physically fresh. And, while it's going to be a different Jason Hendricks, I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing. I'm excited for the future.
Does this change your style, or your outlook, or your work rate, or the way you approach things in the ring? Do you look at and when I say that, there's no knock to this, right? But I know a lot of the younger guys, especially in this generation of wrestling, and I think NWA and the people you're around and being a part of the Exodus team is a good thing, because I think NWA is very big on those characters, right? You can go out and do I love AEW. The fact that they like Penta and all these guys that are there, the flips and the 450s. But you're just it's not if, it's when those crazy stuff happens. And when you can find a good gimmick or story or character and do that old school 5 or 6 moves, you hit them every time, you sell a character to an audience, it adds longevity to your career. Do you look at that now of like, I need to find this new version of myself so I can protect myself more, because maybe taking the risks isn't always the best path to go?
Honestly, no. My style on shows, for the most part, has always been fairly conservative, man. I like to talk. I got into this business to entertain, and it's good to train everything. Just because I'm not doing it on a show doesn't mean I'm not learning how to do it just so I can have it in my back pocket for one day. So honestly, my style was pretty injury proof to begin with. I'm looking to just get warm, get my feet back under me. I pride myself, on working on being a good fundamental wrestler and, having the basics down. That's what I've always strived to do at the very least. And that's what I'm going to strive to do when I'm back. Work with the right coaches, make sure that, everything's clean, everything looks good, and, keep yapping out there.
Yeah. you, especially if you do the heel roll, you have to lean into it. Like this guy has a reconstructed leg, like he broke bones, he has steel in his legs, and then just throwing like V triggers or knees and stuff to people because you have that. It's like that old school wrestling mentality. Oh, I have a broken arm and I can wrestle with a cast, and if I use it, it's technically not a weapon because it's part of me type deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can lean into that, like a go to sleep or a neck breaker on the steel bar of your knee. Like you have an advantage now when it comes to a character.
Brother, these kids are screwed, man. I got a BJJ background. I wrestled in high school, and now I got a bionic leg, bro.
Yeah,
y'all are done, man. Y'all are good.
I love that so much. Well, let's rewind a little bit about that grind and about that trajectory that you were on, and maybe step away from the injury. I appreciate you talking about it. I know that's not easy, but I also wanted to say the reason why I really wanted to talk about it and start off with it is when we did see each other again at PPW. And I'm not perfect right now. I'm still fixing myself. Like I wasn't in a good headspace. Like I'm still very much trying to find a place of being that content creator, podcaster, commentator, production, and still try to be one of the boys. And I'm very fortunate that I have been welcomed in as one of the boys, because I know that what I'm doing as a podcaster and stuff there's not a lot of people who get the backstage access I get and get to be back there and really get to like pick people's brains and get some of the access and information I have. I'm very, very thankful for that, but I still very much am hard on myself of fitting in and struggling. And I kind of said that to you that day at PPW, and you're like, bro, it's up and down. You even said to myself exactly what you said. Like, you're not always on the up. You're going to hit here. You're going to fall to your face. You're going to get back up. And he goes, just stick with it. Like, you gave me really good advice that I really, really appreciate. And then for you to go through it and then live what you said, it's awesome. Like I love that. You're an inspiration.
Thank you, man. It's a philosophy, man. And if I didn't practice one of the fundamental things about myself that I preach, then who would I be?
Well, you were tested. You were like, all right, you're telling everybody the same thing. We're going to put you to the test, and you passed it, brother. Like, you're like, all right, that's it. Let's get back on the horse and do it again.
Hey,
Actually,
that's what you have to do, man.
one more question with the injury thing. So you go through the surgery, you do everything. When do you have that conversation with the doctors and stuff of like, is this something I can bounce back from? Is this something I can wrestle again? And is it a yes, or is it like, hey, we have to ease it and see how it goes?
While my leg is dangling off of my while my foot's dangling off of my leg, I was already asking those questions. That was the first thing. I was like, can I do this? And I don't remember, because again, there was a
Pain
lot of
pills and
stress. They pumped me up with like 3 different painkillers. So I don't know what they said to me, but the doctor had told me that I saw like a couple days later that it's not going to be an easy road. It's going to take a while, but I'm going to do it. And you know what? I was sitting there like, as much as this sucks, I can't move. I've always said quite loudly to anyone that will listen that I want this the most. And if I want this the most, now's when I prove it.
yeah,
If I just cowered down from this thing, who would I be?
yeah.
So I got to put the work in, man, but it's nothing I haven't done before.
Yeah. So what else has been new with you since the last time we spoke? I know you kind of went through a little bit of a gimmick change, a mental change, a moving around. Take us through those steps before the injury of the path you were on and the places you were getting yourself into.
Yeah, bit of a drifter, man. I moved from Jersey to Pittsburgh, which I think you had already known. I was training at Rise Wrestling, and then I was like, hey, I need a logical next step. I had developed a relationship with EC3 at that point, and I was thinking about moving to either Louisville to train at OVW, where I was, wrestling, or Cleveland, just because, at that point, 3 had given me a lot of good sound advice, and I just kind of trusted that he had my best interest in mind. And he had heard through the grapevine that I was thinking about doing it. And he texted me. He's like, hey, I think you should move out here. Just trust me. And I think like a month or 2 later, details became official that he was launching another co-op program, Control Your Narrative. So I moved out there. I said, F it, which is kind of a theme of my career. And I moved out there, trained with him. And, it was awesome, man. We were putting in the work. There were a lot of really, really good talents out there, man. Man Bun Jesus, Master of the Canvas Sebastian, Cowpoke Paul, Gorgeous Gregory, Cristiano Argento. I almost called you Mambo if you're listening. And Leo Fox. I could keep going all day, and I have a lot of friends there. And if I didn't name you, please don't be offended. There's too much talent to name. So I was, iron sharpens iron, getting to work with these guys every day, putting in the work. And that was it, man. I was just, right before I got hurt, I was grinding. We were at training every single day, at the gym every single day, wrestling 3 to 4 times a week in mostly all different states, just embracing the grind and loving it.
Yeah. Now you're there, you make the move. You're like, all right, I'm going to leave Rise. I'm comfortable here. It's a good promotion, good people. I love that I'm in the Pittsburgh scene. Pittsburgh down there, but you move to Ohio, you go to this thing, and how long in before the news breaks that WWE is going to be doing this ID program and the school you're involved in is going to be one of the first schools?
So Exodus actually isn't ID, but the school that I cross-trained
your former
at,
trainer was an ID you're right, the trainer.
So I'll put him over real quick because he's fantastic. So Mike Hollow up in New Hampshire, connected with the Wrestling Federation of America promotion, runs a school, Elite Pro Wrestling Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's never been my primary training spot, but I've cross-trained there literally since I started. And when I tell you guys, if you're a wrestler and you are looking to improve on your basics, your fundamentals, that is the place to go. Coach Mike emphasizes footwork, ring positioning, psychology. Like if your foot is an inch off of where it should be, you're going to hear about it, man. And there's a lot of really, really good wrestlers that he's trained throughout the years, really, really good wrestlers that have popped in and worked with him. And I was making like 10+ hour drives just to train with Coach Mike. He deserves that ID. probably more than anyone. And man, if you are anywhere within semi-reasonable, borderline unreasonable distance of going to New Hampshire, take a trip up to see Coach Mike, man. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say the school that you're at now is an ID, but you worked or trained with a guy who became an ID coach. So like the fact that WE is now seeing the independent scene, seeing these talent and coaches, and you that's a puzzle piece to your puzzle that at any point in time can be cashed in. You know what I mean? That guy could be like, hey, this kid went through this. He got injured. Now look at him. He was a good student. He drove 10 hours to be here. Like that grind is probably in that guy's brain. And that's a connection that can lead you to another place later on down the road. A guy like EC3, who has been the top guy in multiple companies, work ethic speaks for itself. The guy's a absolute monster. You know what I mean? He's big as hell. He's been through the top gimmicks. He's been through some shitty gimmicks and always found a way that the fans still resonated with him. Even when he's holding red solo cups backstage and people are like, he deserves more, he's still finding a way to grind. Like, and then he sees you and says, yeah, you should move up here with me and we should grind together. Like that's a testament of who you are. And that's good puzzle pieces for this overall thing you're putting together.
Yeah. I think really building a network is attainable to anybody who's willing to put the work in to do so.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a special person to do it. Like if you are on the road 24/7, meeting different people, going different places, you build a vast network and it benefits you not just in people knowing who you are, but you're able to pick a lot of really intelligent brains that think about wrestling in different ways. And different doesn't mean bad. Different means, different flavors of ice cream. It's all ice cream, but it's different, you know? And it's about being a road dog, man. It's about traveling. And if I could put someone over that I think you would know, someone that I think embodies this is Junie Underwood.
Yes,
that kid
good
is
call. Yeah,
everywhere, man. He's always on the road. We bumped into each other in like 3 or 4 different states at this point. So if there's a guy that you want to look at as like truly like doing the business, in my eyes at least, the right way, it's Junie Underwood, man. That kid's
I love that kid. He's such a hard worker, and you're 100% correct. You do something too that I kind of want to ask your opinion on when it comes to being this nomad, right? A lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with what I'm about to say, but I'm always somebody of like, you don't want to overstay your welcome, right? And staying with a school and being loyal to a school is one thing, but don't burn that bridge, right? So stay there, learn what you have to learn. If it was a good fit, that's awesome. But how do you like go to a place, you're there for a year, 2 years, a couple months, and be like, hey, no disrespect to you guys, I love you, thank you for everything you have, but I think there's something here that I want to just go and grab and learn. And how do you navigate of like being respectful to your past place, but you can still go somewhere else and get a new piece of connect, because it's not just learning something else. You're networking with a whole new group of people. You're in a whole nother area of fans and people in the business that you can connect with. How do you navigate that and still do it respectfully, that you can bounce from school to school and learn all these different valuable things?
So in wrestling, you're going to encounter a lot of people who want to gatekeep their students and no, I trained you. You have to remain loyal to me forever. And that's how you get a lot of guys who get stuck locally. I was trained by Brandon Kay, and Dean Radford also helped out a ton with me at Rise Wrestling in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Definitely worth checking out, everybody. And, I was there for a good bit. They really helped me out a ton. They built my base up. And I always knew that, you have to take steps in life, in your career, if you want to improve as a person, as a professional, as an athlete, whatever it may be. So when I was thinking about, Louisville or Cleveland, what do I do? I asked Coach K about it, and he was like, dude, I'll kill you if you don't go. like I was very fortunate that I was trained in a non-toxic environment and by the right people who have supported me every step of the way. And I still have a great relationship with to this day. I'm still around Rise Wrestling. So it's fortunate for me, but I also want to put the message out there that if you are not in that situation, right, you're trained somewhere and you've got one of those trainers who doesn't want you working other promotions, or is, like, why are you going to stop working my dates because you have something fairly big lined up that you can move on and do. I sympathize, and I implore that you muster the strength and confidence, which I'm sure it's incredibly difficult, because that's like telling a parent no,
Yeah.
at that point. But you have to move on. This is independent wrestling, and even on the top level, they're independent contractors. Everyone is out here for their own brand at the end of the day. So if you are stuck somewhere that's not best for you, and this is honestly good life advice, I think, beyond wrestling, you take the strength, muster it up and do what you have to do to improve and move on with your career.
Yeah, the average human is born within 15 miles of a hospital and stays there their entire life. Not a lot of people pick up and move or willing to leave that comfort zone or leave that bubble. And that's just a human trait. That's a hard construct to leave a bubble. And when I see someone like you doing that, or like Junie and stuff, like, I'm just going to pick up and I'm going to get my belongings and I'm going to put them in a car and go here because I'm chasing my dreams. I respect the shit out of that, man. And that's super dope. Who or what motivated you now still? Like, I know we talked about this before, motivations and inspirations. Who are some possible new ones, or maybe ones that still has stuck around?
It's just watching my peers around me continue to get to do some really awesome stuff. Even now that I'm sitting here, not able to do the thing I love, a lot of my friends are able to do it, and they're doing it really, really well. Brandon Beretta has really started getting his name out there, working more indies, killing it on Exodus. Cowpoke Paul getting his name out there. He's fantastic. And if you don't
He's
know
a Pittsburgh guy too, right?
We were both trained at Rise. Yeah. So
yeah.
I convinced him. At least I'd like to think I convinced him. He makes his own decisions, but to move out and train at Exodus with me,
he has a
for
very
the second
latching
semester.
name. I don't know how aware he is of that. Like, Cowpoke Paul is, when you hear that, I personally, I don't know if I've ever seen a Cowpoke Paul match because I consume so much wrestling, but I definitely know the name. Like, when people say it, I'm like, I know he's from Pittsburgh. I know he's from that area because his name is just, it sticks in your brain. It's a very good name.
Dude, he's fantastic, man. If you haven't seen a match of his yet, I highly recommend you do go watch him.
I think he did some Smash stuff at Smash Master. I believe he did it because I think they did a collaboration show where it was like Pittsburgh people versus like 570 PA people, and I don't remember for the life of me who he worked, but I do remember him being there and a lot of people giving him really positive feedback.
Yeah, he wrestled there at least once. He did. He's really good, man. He's another guy that is willing to pick it up and travel. And then I'll name again, like Junie, dude. Like, seeing guys that are around my age bracket hustle and do all the right things is motivating to me. I'm living vicariously through the boys, so that's what motivates and inspires me at the moment.
Yeah, the two great names. I love that, and I love how you picked like your peers. A lot of people, like some people, like Michael Jordan, and there's nothing wrong with that answer. But this podcast, dude, every time I have someone sitting across from me here or virtually, and I get to like hear them and get a feel for them and ask questions, and you can tell when someone's talking and they're just saying what they need you to hear, or they're putting themselves over. And then you can tell who are the genuine ones, and the ones who are genuine, like yourself, or most of the people on my podcast, because I pick certain people. I don't just give everybody this platform. You can tell, and that like every episode I get motivated, like, oh, this is why, it's probably the reason why I haven't quit. Like, my numbers aren't there, my subscribers aren't there, but I hear people's stories and I'm like, they're risking broken legs and necks and body injury, and I'm just frustrated because my YouTube channel is not growing. Like, shut up, stop being a baby, and keep making content. Something will hit. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, man, comparison's the thief of joy. We all have our things that we need to work through, and they're tough in different ways. Like, in many ways, I look at a lot of the stuff that like would bother me before I got hurt, and I'm like, damn, really, dude? So
put some perspective,
man. Exactly. It's all perspective. But, dude, like, you keep hustling. You do things the right way. You have a nice professional layout here. You have questions ready to go, rather than like, I'm just going to turn on the camera and see what happens, which, I'll be frank, is a thing. And
I used to. I
think,
used to.
I think you know that.
Well, these questions I always had. I had this structure in my brain. I just never told my guests for almost 7 years. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna like structure it and put it in a format and study it and break it down like a science project and layer the questions in a certain way so it's like a roller coaster ride. Like studying interviews and everything, and then really sending the guests the questions beforehand has changed my content like immensely.
Yeah, hey man, you're figuring out, you're doing things the right way. Go
Yeah.
watch my first match and tell and watch my last match. They're vastly different. So
Yeah.
we're all learning our respective crafts and figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So key moments, accomplishments that you've had at this point, like pre-injury or even during the injury where you're like, hey, I have this opportunity lined up, or this is what I have still, even though I'm not physically on my feet, but I'm still grinding and doing my thing.
Um, I'll go pre-injury just because for me, naming the things I could have done, I'm not content with that. I'm gonna go get those things in time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. But some cool stuff I got to do before I got hurt. Making my NWA debut down in Knoxville, Tennessee. That was pretty cool. Getting to wrestle Dirty Dango and not only wrestle him, but being able to beat him. That was good as well. I had to get crafty there.
And he is a winner over Chris Jericho. That's what I mean.
hey man, Chris Jericho at WrestleMania or Jason Hendricks at the Sears Hardware Arena in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. You tell me who's more dangerous. Those would probably be my two biggest. Honestly, like, I've crammed so many matches into like such a short period of time. There's stuff that I'm forgetting, but if you go look at my cage match, it's there. So those would be the two that stick out. Anything else that I'm forgetting, again, it's on the internet somewhere. If anyone's wanting to do the research, go crazy.
What is the moment like when you get selected to be part of the NWA developmental program, Exodus? How does that process go about? What do you feel like when now you're kind of mixing it up with some people and you have the opportunity now maybe to go up to that main roster and wrestle? Because there's a name that we were kind of talking about before the podcast that I would love to see you in a match with, and I'm curious if you can call, if you had an opportunity to work somebody on that NWA roster, on that main roster, who would it be? But walk through first. Being involved in such a prestigious name of a NWA.
Yeah, so it's, as much as 3 had invited me out to do things, it's very much an earn your spot kind of place at Exodus Pro. They were running preface seminars for a while, which were, incredibly informational. You'd learn a ton at, but they would also, pick people out of that, like, hey, we're going to use you, if you showed enough. Showed up to one, kind of was just a wrestler, and they were like, this, you're good, but we want to see more.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like raked my brain for so long on like what I'm going to do. Like, it's so much pressure I had put on myself, because to me, like, this is a good spot. This is where I want to be. And finally, we had a collaborative kind of idea with EC3. Noah did help there as well, for what they wanted to see out of me in terms of character. And it was kind of just one of those things where the ball was put in my court, and I went to the next preface. I presented my best interpretation of, our discussions, and they said, you're in, we got you. And from there, we kind of just started rolling. So that's kind of how that went. And, I'm very, very grateful for the opportunities Exodus Pro has given me. And if you are unaware, they stream live on the NWA's YouTube channel. Follow Exodus Pro on social media to keep up with those. But if I could work a name on the NWA roster, the main roster, and technically I have worked this person already, but I would like a singles match. This might not be who you're thinking, but I'd love to wrestle Kerry Morton.
That was exactly the name I want.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. I look at that
There we
roster, I'm like,
go.
you and Carrie would be amazing. I love that matchup. I love you and Slade, and I love you and Colby Carino.
Oh man, any of those three would be fantastic,
But
man.
100% Carrie Morton is the number one name. Like, just I feel like used two would stylistically be a really fun match. Now, what is the character that you presented to the Exodus thing, and how was it developing that character? And really, because now here's a difference. You're on the independent scene. You get to create you get to control your own narrative as you know what I mean. Like, you get to say, hey, this is the character I want to be. This I want to do. And then you're getting that first taste of, hey, I'm getting called up to a bigger name, a bigger company. They have a vision for me. They're going to give me a direction, and I have to now see if I can hit that. Like, that's a new challenge.
Yeah, really. Could call it a character, but it really is just an extension of who I am, man. I'm a drifter. I'm a drifter, you know. I go from city to city. I do my thing. I kind of, got a little swag to me, I'd like to think, and people rock with that. So I go out there and I turn that up just a little bit, and that is who I am in a wrestling sense. But I think it's important that, rather than playing a character, you extend maybe a part of yourself that people don't see as much, at first glance. But when you're in a ring, it's bigger,
Yeah. Now that you're kind of waiting just to get back and dive into this and really embark this character and embark this new chapter and this new embodiment of who you are you doing research? Are you looking at other people that you can pull inspiration from to add to this element of who this person may be, or anything like that?
Yeah. No one in wrestling. No one in wrestling. And that's not a slight on anyone, but I think it's very important that, when you take inspiration on, what you want to do, you kind of go to outside sources and you find things that make you more original. This whole thing kind of started with me watching Bad Times at the El Royale. That was my initial homework. I was told to watch Chris Hemsworth. And I believe the next homework I've been given, which was like a week ago, was it Point Break I'm supposed to watch?
Okay.
I'd have to, I haven't seen it yet because I was recently on vacation, but now that I'm back, that's definitely on the list. So kind of just watching movies, seeing what resonates with me there. Honestly, a big thing for me is just sitting down, listening to music, and just kind of seeing like what pops in my brain. I have ADHD off the ass. Anyone that knows me is well aware of that.
Yeah.
Knows me well, at least. And, that's kind of one of the things with it. My mind races. And when I listen to music, things just kind of like ideas pop in my head. So
Yeah.
I would say those are my main sources of inspiration.
Yeah. Now you're going for like a cult-ish kind of mind, getting in people's mind. The best heel, and you're heel work. You're a very, like, the best heels in the business are also the nicest dudes in the world, because Adam Cole, love that dude, but he's a great scumbag. And I think you can do a good heel work. I've seen you do it. Even at the early stages of your career when you were playing the heel, you were very talented at it. But like, you look at those like David Caressers, and everyone goes Manson, right? Like, everyone, when I'm gonna be a cult leader, they lean too hard into the Manson. But like, those people who can just psychologically get in your brain, and a good heel is a justified heel. If a heel can make you think, almost like the Joker, of my point and what I'm trying to accomplish, you can see a little bit of truth in it, and you're like, I hate you, but I can see why you feel the way you feel. That's what connects, especially in pro wrestling. Like, Kevin Owens right now is going after the top babyface, but Kevin Owens is kind of justified in why he's trying to hurt that guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good heel in wrestling.
Absolutely. And I would say, in terms of anyone who chooses to follow my philosophy, I do believe everything I say. I am chasing that kind of initial feeling, that first like time you hear a song and you just like rewind that song over and over and over just to chase the first time you heard it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for in life. You know what I'm saying? And anyone that comes along with my journey, that's what they're in for. So I would say I'm completely justified in my philosophies, and I would hope others feel the same.
Yeah. The only other thing too, when it comes to the NWA roster, I'm not saying if it's, I'm saying when you get up there, someone just please stay away from, because I don't want to see you on the shelf again. I don't want to see more steel added to your body. Just stay away from Max the Impaler. Like they will destroy you and eat you. That is one of the scariest people in professional wrestling. Just stay away from Max. Whatever you can do, maybe team up or just become friends with Max, because they will be a problem. That's just my personal advice. I would stay away from that side of the yard.
I gotta hit up my buddy Carson Drake, who recently solved that puzzle. Actually beat them for the NWA World Television Championship, and Carson Drake is fantastic, by the way.
Yes,
but yeah, Max is very scary, obviously, but you know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I think that's an old cliche, probably used in way too many promos at this point. So I do apologize for repeating it, but it is true. You know, I'm an athlete. I am smart. I can beat anybody I want if I really try. And you know what? Jason Hendricks versus Max the Impaler has a nice ring to it. So sign me up.
That terrifies me for you, because I love you to death. But you're talking about your things you're into, music, that's something you attach yourself to. But when you're not wrestling, when you're not tape studying, when you're not drifting and on the road, what are some interests or hobbies you have that kind of help you clear your mind?
Yeah, love going to concerts, man. I'm a big concert head, and my music taste is all over the map. I've been to like a million metalcore shows, but I also just bought tickets. We'll be buying tomorrow when they go on sale for Point Break, not the movie, the festival, which is a reggae festival. So
you're doing your homework, but you just bought the wrong tickets.
Yeah,
you're like, Coach, I came up with the character. I went to Point Break. Like, no, the movie, Jason.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trying my best out here, man. I'm trying my best. But
so what's all in this? What's this festival? What's all on Point Break? Like, who are the headliners?
Okay, so Slightly Stoopid, Stick Figure, 311. No one that's like a crazy big like arena, whatever. But if you listen to reggae, I'm sure you probably know these bands.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot that I'm excited there for. This will be my first like festival, which I've wanted to do for a while, and it's like one of the things that when I'm back in wrestling, like I was wrestling every single weekend all the time, and it caused a little bit of burnout. So I want to make sure that I'm still wrestling a lot, but I'm living a little bit too. So yeah, concerts, I like to read here and there, play some video games. You can catch me on Call of Duty, messing some dudes up.
Is that what you're playing? Is that what your go-to game right now, Call of Duty?
Yeah. And that's kind of more of a recent thing for me. I was off of games for a good few years, and then I broke my leg and had a tremendous amount of time on my hands. So I got back into the Xbox there. And then outside of that, just kind of like getting out there and adventuring sometimes without a plan, trying new foods, going to new places, like just seeing the world. I think it's important, for human beings to immerse themselves in different cultures, whether that be food or travel or what have you, music even too.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes you like a well-rounded person. And it's fun. It's fun to try different things. So.
What band currently are you obsessed with that you're listening probably too much of or uncomfortably amount of?
Okay. I feel like right now I don't have like a fixation, which I typically will have like excuse me. I'm fixated on this band for a little bit, which is an ADHD thing, but I have always had a very deep love. They're actually tattooed on this side of my ribs for Beartooth, which is a metalcore band.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to shout them out in that spot. I'm probably not like listening to as much of them as I usually do, but Beartooth always hits, man. They're fantastic.
I'm obsessed with Ghost. I cannot stop listening to Ghost. I just went and seen the movie. I just bought the movie. I listened to the soundtrack to the movie 4 times. They're so pro wrestling, like the whole gimmick to them and the backstory and everything they have going on. I'm obsessed, and Taking Back Sunday. I just can't stop listening to it. The old Taking Back Sunday, not so much the newer stuff, but the old Taking Back Sunday. Like same thing. ADHD. You have those comfort shows and those comfort foods. You're like, I'm gonna put something new on. You're like, no, I'm gonna put this on and not even pay attention to it, but I'm gonna have it in the background because it has that soul food feeling to it.
Exactly, man. I put on my comfort show when I got hurt. That's it. Funny enough, it's a really weird comfort show, but rewatching Dexter did help me get through the leg break a little bit. So hey, I get it, man.
There's some characters you can pull from that when it comes to what you want to do. That Doomsday season is one of the greatest seasons of television of all time. I love that season. Unfortunately, that show I didn't watch the reboot. As a Dexter fan, should I dedicate my time to that reboot?
I haven't seen the new one yet. I'm working on the new season of Squid Game right now. So after that, I will pivot to the Dexter reboot. But I have seen the one that they put on Showtime. It was like one season, and like you follow Dexter as he's like
That's what I meant. The reboot,
alert.
yeah, like the second half of it. Is the second half worth it?
Yeah, it's good. Like it's you kind of have to have seen the actual show, I think, to enjoy it, but I liked it. I'm also a big fat mark for that series, so I was gonna like it even if it sucked. So maybe I'm not the best perspective, but I thought it was really good.
I was upset. Dexter was that show where I didn't realize how long it was going on until it was done. And I was like, I dedicated a lot of time to this TV show. Like I caught it on late, right? We binge watched all these seasons, and then we got caught up. Our neighbors would come over, or we'd go over to their house and we'd sit down and watch the newest episode of Dexter. It was a whole thing. And then it ended. And I remember just sitting in the living room. I go, are you fucking kidding me? Are you joking me? That's what we're doing. That I was livid at the ending of that TV show.
It wasn't for everybody. And spoiler alert, again, if you were planning to watch Dexter and you haven't, maybe don't watch for like a couple minutes or something. Yeah. But either way, I think that keeping him alive was just, they knew they were going to do reboots at some point. For me, my take was like, I had such like an emotional like connection with that show being my favorite show. I was just happy he was okay.
That show gave me anxiety. Like you're watching, you're like, oh, like I remember legit like feeling anxious watching that show. Like it made you uncomfortable. It was so good. It's such a good show. I even though the ending may or may not be for you, it's definitely worth your time to watch the whole thing through. It's such a good show. Oh, it's so good. Such a good show.
It's like so well written that you're the protagonist that you are rooting for and that you like at least understand the perspective of is a serial killer. Like that's insane that you're rooting for a serial killer.
Yeah.
But you are. That's how good that show is. It's crazy.
Yeah, so good. That's a good comfort show. I like that a lot. That's interesting. Yeah, I watched Squid Game 1 and then I rewatched it before season 2, but I'm terrified that season 2 is not going to match season 1 because that's another show that was written so well. Squid Game season 1 that's good booking. That's some good booking there at Squid Game. So I'm excited, but I'm nervous to watch season 2. Closing up here. What are some words of encouragement for a beginner? They whether it's in the wrestling industry, whether it's anything chasing a dream, you have a lot of good feedback and stuff. What would you tell someone who's just starting?
Make sure if you're starting out in wrestling that first of all you're trained at a school with a good reputation. Do your research. It's partially about what you get out of it in terms of your training, but it is also partially, like we had mentioned before, like, are these places going to hold you back? Are you going to be surrounding yourself with supportive people who want to see you go further in your career, rather than line their pockets? So make sure you do your research on that. Just go in with a positive mindset and be excited. You're never truly ready to do anything in life. Like I've had people hit me up like, hey, I want to start wrestling, but like, I don't think I'm in good enough shape yet, or this or that. And like being in shape is important. I absolutely believe that you should be working out very consistently if you want to be a wrestler. I think that's part of what we do, but not everyone is going to be perfect right away. Like your wrestling journey starts as soon as you say it does. So get in there, get to training, start hitting the gym then don't hit the gym for a few months and then start training. Train and hit the gym, and things will come as they do. Just stay as relaxed as you can, and make sure to smell the roses along the way, because the worst thing you can do is burn out or hate the grind or anything like that. So just have fun. This is such a cool business. I'm grateful for it every day. It's hard, it's difficult, but if you approach it with the right mindset, anybody can do it.
Yeah, totally. And what are you grateful for? And are you currently happy?
You know what? Honestly, I'm just grateful for life. Corny ass answer. But all those things, all those superficial things that I had going before, not necessarily superficial, but just those achievement based things, were kind of like, wow, that would be cool, but it'd also be cool to be able to get up and walk to the fridge to grab my water instead of asking someone to do it for me, or to get to the bathroom easily. So I'm just grateful to be, pretty functional at this point, on the right end of this injury, getting to live life and go outside and go for walks. And yeah, I really am currently happy. As I said, this injury has kind of like taken me, my head that was so wrapped up in the game, and it's given me a chance to relax, to decompress, to do things I wouldn't allow myself to do, because before it would be like, if I was taking a break at all, I'd be like, you could be doing something that benefits your career in some way right now, and you're sitting here watching TV. But now I understand that it's important to, allow yourself that time to chill out, relax, be you, and just get your me time in. So I really am very happy at the moment, and I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life, and grateful for everything that's coming.
I'm grateful for you and taking your time to come back and reach out and say, hey, you wanted to do the podcast again. It means a lot. It was awesome to check in with you. Thank you for all your words of encouragement and being a good friend to me in this industry. I'm rooting for you, brother. I cannot wait to keep watching. I cannot wait. I honestly, I'm excited to dive back into NWA, knowing that there's more of an opportunity that I can see you there. You know what I mean? A lot of people only watch the stuff that's readily available to them, that they can turn their TV on and see. NWA is free on YouTube. You can check it out. I think they do have subscriptions where you can see stuff live. I have to do my research to learn more about the program. But yeah, maybe I can't wait to do a watch along on NWA when you make your return back to Exodus, and we get to watch your character and follow your journey. Keep grinding, man. You're a good fucking human, and we are rooting for you here at the ABJ podcast in the community, and you got this, brother.
ABJ, pleasure as always, man. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm sure we will cross paths in some state soon.
Yeah, definitely, because you're all over the place. Where can people find and support you?
I'm all over social media. I could be better with Twitter. I'm not very good at it, and I should.
Twitter's getting overrated anyway.
It's whatever,
Yeah.
I'm trying. But Instagram, he is HENDRIX Pro. I believe Twitter is also he is HENDRIX Pro. Jason Hendricks on Facebook, the Jason Hendricks Experience on YouTube. And if that is too much to digest all at once, which I'm sure it is, just go to my Instagram. I have a link tree in my bio. I consolidated all of this, so you don't have to. Check me out. I'm on the socials, and I appreciate anyone who takes the time to stop, watch my reels, like my posts, just really pays any level of attention to my career. So I'm out there, guys.
Do you have merch pages?
Oh God, I'm so bad with that. I have one, and it's like ancient. I like, honestly, right now I'm working on it, but the best place to get merchandise for me is at shows. And I don't want to say too much, but we're not that much further from that being a reality again. So I think it'd be great if you guys want a shirt, just to take it away.
Yeah. Also, too, if you need help setting up an online presence when it comes to merchandise, let me know. I have no problem sitting with you for an hour or two and helping you set up an online store that people can buy stuff from you, so you can make a revenue that way too. Just like I said, I'm a message away. Just hit me up and be like, hey man, I don't know, I'm not with this new job. I am free Monday through Thursday. So if you have time on your hands, I have time on my hands. Let's I'll help you digitize your logos, and we'll help you set up an online store.
Hey, always down to work with you, brother. I appreciate it.
Always. Well, hey, listen, the door's always open. I'd love to have you back. Maybe after you start getting some big W's over in that NWA Exodus and move your way up. I'd love to keep following you along this dream, and maybe one day we have a celebratory podcast when you win your first title over in NWA. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I got some work.
It's not
to
if,
do
it's when. We're gonna be doing that. We're gonna belt clink. We're gonna belt clink one day.
Awesome, man. Love to. Can't wait.
10 pounds of gold is in your future. I can't wait.
Yeah, hey, it's not on my trainer anymore, so free reign.
Yeah, I love you, brother. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, guys. If you made it this far and haven't hit like, subscribe, shared, screenshotted it, and tagged us on social media, please do so. Go follow NWA on Twitter so you can see Jason, and he'll pop up at any point in time, which is a lot of fun. And also follow him on social media so you can see him on the independent circuit as well and support this guy. DM him, get him out there, tag him in places so he can get more work, and you want to see him work, trust me. Thank you guys so much. Here's some music from the Converse Kid. Until the next time, we're out of here.